All right. Good morning, everyone. It is Winning Women's Wednesday at
Good
Studio
morning.
USA. Good morning, y'all.
Good morning.
So I'm Rick at Studio USA, and I'm the Lone Ranger, the sole male of the situation here. And I have my lovely and talented co-host, Michelle.
Good morning, everyone.
And your guest is...
My amazing guest, one of my favorite people on earth, is Miss Glenda White. You may know her as the mortgage coach on social media.
Yes.
And she is all things lending and all the classes, everything you could ever want to know. That's what makes her special, is she goes the extra mile, not only for her clients, but for her agents as well.
Oh, I
and we
love
love
that.
her. Thanks for being here today.
Well, thank you for having me. This setup is really legit. I love it here.
Isn't it cool?
Like, how about
thank
I
you.
just want to come here every day and have classes and content.
I love it. Excellent.
Studio
Well,
USA is amazing.
Yes.
Thank you. And for those that are looking at us just sitting at a table, it's like this was, this was a happy accident as far as the Last Supper style of the table here. It was more of this used to be a barbershop.
Oh.
So 6 months ago, we could have got haircuts instead of podcast.
Well,
Instead of
hey,
live streaming. I've not gotten a haircut probably in 10 years. So
There you go.
yeah, I'm not the guy. I'm not that guy. But welcome. And so did I hear you right where you said you just won the influencer award?
I did. There's at our company, NXT, there's a Magnificent Seven, and my team voted me the influencer of the year in 2023.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we're in the right place.
We
Okay.
are.
Congratulations,
That means I do a
friend.
lot of podcasts, a lot of content, a lot of classes, just getting out in the community.
I love that.
So I love it.
And you actually drove here from...
Midlothian.
I've not been there since the 80s, but
Yes.
apparently it's still here.
It's still here and it's phenomenal. I back up to 78 acres. So it's a little country and a little community and a little city all together. I love
I
it.
understand completely. So I actually learned to drive and all of that in Keller, Texas in the mid-80s.
Oh,
So,
wow. That's
yeah.
way up there.
Yeah, so Keller, one red light, we had a Dairy Queen, very, very, very Texas.
Very
and now
Texas.
it's like a different planet.
Yeah.
For sure.
But... Okay, so have we schooled her on the method here?
Yes.
Okay.
So we gotta the oracle's got to tell us what
Okay.
our
So-
topic is.
Yes, so the Oracle has suggested
Oh, I love the Oracle.
breaking barriers, women in business.
Oh, I love that.
And the quote
Yes.
is, behind every successful woman is a tribe of other successful women who have her back. It is not just about breaking through, it's about holding the door open for those who come after.
For
I
sure.
love every bit of that. Yes.
And didn't we talk about that a couple weeks ago?
I
about
think we
having our
did.
village and having our back?
It's so huge because I think, especially the industry that we're in, it's so competitive that it can be challenging to find a tribe of people that really do have your back
Yeah.
and are at the same, I don't want to say level, but like working towards the same goals
For sure.
that you are. How have you found that to be in your business?
Well, on the lending side, it's a little bit different than the real estate side because
Sure.
lending, it is super male dominated. And so for me, having my women, classes, title, real estate agents, having my back, just pushing me each and every day. And when I'm having a bad day, I'll call you and I'm like, hey, Michelle, I'm having a really bad day. You're like, dude, just go out and do you. And that kind of flips the mindset for me. And as once I know it's me, doesn't matter who's in front of me, I just go. And thanks to you.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. You're so sweet.
Oh,
It's so important to have that community
yeah,
so that you do have someone to go to and that pushes you
for sure.
and holds you accountable.
And holds me accountable. Because
Yes.
if I'm having a bad day and I'm like, I'm not where I need to be, you're like, just do this. Let's take a step back. And why? Let's figure out the why and the vision.
Yeah.
And once that becomes the why and the vision, it's nonstop and we go.
Yeah.
I love having the coaches on here because it's like I get this like double vitamin shot
Yes.
of like the coaching mindset. So I'm curious as to, okay, so as a mortgage guy in a previous life, it is very male. We were talking about that earlier where it's like, okay, I'm the atavistic kind of like throwback guy where I like stupid locker, like I like dumb stuff.
Yeah.
And I can thrive in just basically a bullpen full of idiots. And I have a lot of fun there. And for somebody that is like coming from a place of, hey, where are all the women, where are all the ladies? How do you even get past that where male dominated is one thing, and then just to be like, okay, I'm gonna do this in a male dominated world.
Yeah.
Where that's got to be hard. And
It is.
and the thing is, like for guys, we don't gas each other up, and it's like there's rarely, if ever, somebody's gonna call and be like, "Hey, dude, I'm having like a really off day or whatever." There's no pep rally. There's no like secret network of. So like, how do you guys develop that? Is that like something that's just there from day? Because I'm always curious about it. So I'm playing the role of my real life character of just the dumb guy. So I'm always curious as to, there's just like so much stuff baked in with y'all, if I may say this, with y'all, that we don't have.
Yeah.
And we're always competitive and hyper competitive. So like, I'm just curious to that is like the not only the breakthrough and the breaking the barrier, but then getting over that competitive thing where like, obviously y'all kind of, your Venn diagram overlaps on the coaching or whatever.
Right.
So how do you not be like, just a little snark?
Well, it kind of helps too because she's on the real estate side and I'm on the lending side. So it kind of helps bridge that gap. And then we find other lender females. Like I'm in a Facebook group with almost 1,000 female loan officers across the country. And it started with 200 in the middle of COVID. And now there's over 1,000 women that are just lenders. And we just talk and kind of go through those hurdles of the men. But it kind of helps us with scenarios and helps of how to bridge that gap. And if we're having a bad day, I'll pop in there. I'll see other women and I'll be like, hey, here we go. So there's like 1,000 of us across the country, just kind of hyping each other up of just loan officers.
Okay, that blows my mind.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I love it.
Because I, in a previous life, I worked at like in the Ivory Tower at Citi. And that was just a Shark Tank. That was just, it wasn't the goofy, locker room / boiler room thing where it's just, like monkeys hanging from the ceiling and throwing poop or whatever. It was more of just very cutthroat, but understated.
Yeah.
At least, from my perspective, if I'm dealing with a big Southern dummy that's sitting next to me or whatever, I know what that is.
Yeah.
It's the subversive thing that always gets me. And so I would imagine y'all have to deal with that a lot, where it's like, what is she doing here?
Yeah, for sure.
And so to that, are you still dealing with that?
Every day.
Every day. Oh, okay.
Yeah, every day.
I feel like what's different for men and women is women have to put on a brave front. Like
Yes.
anything that happens, they just have to go to their desk, be calm about it, and work it out. Give me a call, give another friend a call, and handle it that way.
Yeah.
Where for men, if they have a situation that doesn't sit well with them, they can just walk in, throw something on the desk, and I can't believe so-and-so did, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
Like you can be upset outwardly and share that. If a woman does it,
Oh, we have too much testosterone.
yeah,
We have,
yeah.
why are we doing that?
Yeah, she's weak. She can't handle the pressure of this
Yeah,
job.
she needs to get out of the industry.
Yes. No, they just made me mad.
Yeah.
Like, let me deal with it and we'll move on. And it'll get closed on time.
It will, for
So I feel like that's where the difference lies, is
Yeah.
we really do have to keep that brave front on all the time, no matter what.
We do.
So
And it's just
everything's great.
walking out, throwing the football a couple times, maybe hitting a couple golf balls lately, and then I just turn around, walk in, and do me.
Right on. Okay. And now, how do you build? So, like, let's say y'all are coaching somebody, and it's like, okay, again, where it's a female coming into a male-centric universe. How do you even like build them up to be able to withstand that sort of almost like unconscious bias, or like that sort of like baked in framework you're talking there? So when you coach folks, I'm just curious as to like, what does that look like?
Putting walls up, surrounding yourself by other women that are top of their game, other women that are on social media, other women that are top producers, because those are going to help us drive tomorrow. And even at NXE, that's what I did, is I came into this company as a broker. I was on the retail side for so long. Now I'm a broker. I found other brokers that are just slaying it out there, and I'm like, what are you doing? And it just, the more we surround ourselves by other top producers, kind of helps push the vision.
That's what's huge for me in coaching, especially in my mastermind, is the first thing I have to get through to these women is you can let the wall down. This is a safe space.
Yeah.
Like we can talk about what's really going on so that you can have better tools
Yeah.
when you're out there and you have to put the walls up. You
Yeah.
can do things a little bit differently more effectively and make a true difference and make an impact.
Yeah, it's all about having those tools too.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Right. Okay. So I'm still just taking all this because like a lot of this stuff, I mean, obviously I would never encounter it. And so it would never be even something that would cross my mind. But then when you said like, oh yeah, loan officer, broker, male dominated. So as far as the women in business, so, I mean, so for, I obviously I only know the idiot guy perspective and like how do you deal with the personalities where, so like with guys, we will make fun of people and say horrible things and not mean it. And so the old joke is that women will do the opposite. We'll say nice things and not mean it.
Yeah, we'll kill you with kindness all day long.
Bless your heart.
Bless your heart. And we will slay you with kindness, and they'll be like, oh, she actually means business.
So, to that. So, like, now, what about, like, the image of today's, like, boss babe? Where it's like, you know, you're juggling chainsaws and torches and feeding the baby and...
But that's us. That's what society is we've got our kids in our back. We're at a football game. We got a glass of wine. We're still closing loans and coaching people to get through this today.
That's a great point. How do you handle, because you run a nonprofit.
Yeah.
You have a young daughter.
Yeah.
You have an older daughter.
Yes.
And you've got a husband and dogs and all the things. So how do you handle the work-life balance?
Time blocking.
Good one.
All day, every day.
It's my favorite. I love time blocking.
So color-coded to driving an hour, taking an hour to read a women leadership book. I get that on the way up here.
What are you reading?
It's Elena Cardone's book, Building an Empire.
Nice.
It is phenomenal. And it just
Good
talks
one.
about breaking the barriers of just doing you. And on those days, like, we're all going to have off days.
Yeah.
But we have to have more on days than off days.
For sure.
But it's also surrounding yourself by that community that builds us up to be a better tomorrow.
Awesome. Awesome.
It's a fantastic read, by the way.
Cool. Okay. Work-life balance.
Yes, and that's what it is she even talks about that work-life balance, that we have to time block. Like everybody laughs, like my calendar is so color-coded that it is clients, it's community, it's kids, it's nonprofit, and I have to stick to it, because if I squirrel too much, like, it's gone. The day's gone.
Do you find, because that's something that when I talk to people about coaching, like the first thing we're going to do is dig into your calendar and we're going to schedule everything.
Yeah, everything.
And people are like, oh, no, I don't want to be restricted like that. And truthfully,
have to be restricted.
But do you find that the more you schedule and the more you restrict, the more free time you actually have?
100%.
People don't get that.
Discipline is freedom.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
How are you with scheduling?
I was horrible.
Okay.
And ironically, Citi and Bank of America from the corporate level just beat it into me.
Yeah.
That's where I started.
So, well, then you would know where it's like, okay, so you go to the Ivory Tower, and if you're there, I used to love the 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. shift, you know, because at Citi we were dealing mostly with New York portfolio.
Yeah.
And so if you were good, you know, they moved you up the food chain or whatever.
Right.
And so I had my own little, you know, space and all that. But you were still obligated and required to be in the actual machine. So you had to log in at 7 a.m. into the system, not 6:59 because then you're stealing overtime. And not 7:01 because then you're late.
That's 7.
So that became a thing where, okay, that forced me to be on time and forced me to actually be accountable for like leaving it, you know, all of the things that are required to actually be on time.
Right.
Yeah.
And then Bank of America took it to the nth degree where I will like.
I think we all cringe a little when we hear Bank of America for different reasons.
But I
Yes.
worked there. I mean, that's how I knew
and
that.
I did
at the
9
time.
short sales for them.
Okay, so that would have been that same world.
Yes.
And it would have been directly tied into when they took over Countrywide.
And I was there.
Okay, so so I worked at the one at Legacy and the Tollway. So the headquarters, it's a headquarters drive because that's where headquarters was, and it's B of A now, but it was the massive.
Started Eamon Carter over in Fort Worth.
Okay, yeah, that would have been the flip side of the same coin.
Yep.
And there, Countrywide, like when they had so many sins that they're uncountable, but whoever it was that was their evil overlord that figured out, they micromanaged you to where you had 15-minute blocks
For sure.
on your actual
Yeah.
daily calendar. So, and then the team lead would look and see like, okay, hey, the thing says you're supposed to be over there and you're over there. So that got me into the mindset, if you will, or let's put it this way, it exposed me to the trauma of having everything dialed in and essentially accounted for. So then when I actually, I'm curious about y'all's on input on this, especially since you came from the dark,
The
the dark
CY.
side. Yeah.
The CW.
But
I feel like we need to have like a trauma healing at the end. We'll just huddle.
burn some
and,
sage.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was 08 to 11 and, well, 08 to 14 as I was Bank of America Countrywide. So I was in it.
Same. I would have been I would have been at B of A in 2014. And then after that is when I got headhunted and I came to a local bank. And then that's when I learned the boiler room, old school, that kind of a thing. But I'm curious as to, so like for me, I'd said this before, like I've only ever been fired twice in my life. And both times I was sober and the other person was just on, Neptune. But I got fired. And then all of a sudden it's like, I don't have anybody telling me to do anything.
Right.
So I fell back into the whole thing of like, well, shit, okay. Because I realized at some point, if it's not on the calendar, it doesn't happen.
100%.
And I'm curious about you guys on this, where like I used to overcommit.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, oh, it sounds like a great idea when I'm here and you say like this, that, and the other thing. And then, but like 3 weeks from now, I don't want to go. And then I'm mad at y'all for asking me.
Yeah.
Not because I couldn't
I couldn't say no.
I couldn't
Yeah.
say no.
I still don't say no.
And so the calendar, again, coincidental, ironic, I don't know, but I started teaching Google at Abby Halliday. And I learned in that process that you can have the calendar in Gmail match up and it'll put it in your calendar, but it won't commit you. So I could call an audible on the day
That is glorious.
and be like, okay, I'm not going. Or the thing that I thought was stupid 3 weeks ago now is incredibly timely and it sounds great. Oh, and it's right around the corner.
Yeah.
So then I just show up.
Yeah.
But so to the time management thing, how much of that did y'all struggle, or did you struggle with the thing where you overcommit and then it's like, or where stuff falls through the cracks? Because like right now I have at least 4 calendars on my phone. And then we'll talk about this too, like getting into the managing of people or whatever. But like for you guys, how did that morph into where you go from the gulag to, okay, now it's on me?
Ooh.
I mean, I still overcommit.
I do too.
I was having lunch with my daughter yesterday, and we were talking about some different things and going through the schedule because she's very like me. And I'm starting my PhD next week. And she goes, "Do you really have time for that?" And I said, "Probably not,
No.
but we'll get it figured out. We're just going to add another color to the calendar, and it'll be fine."
It will be fine.
But you make time for the things that are important to you. And it's fun. And like I got up this morning looking at the questions and going over things. And I was so excited. Like when you're passionate about it, then I don't think it becomes an inconvenience. And that's what I think I pay attention to now is if I'm not excited about it, I'm not doing it.
Or if it doesn't make me money,
Or if it doesn't make me money,
I don't do it.
if it doesn't make me money, it doesn't make me happy, I'm not doing it. There's just no reason to.
Right.
Yeah. Or if it doesn't further create an impact in the areas that I want to serve.
100%. And that's the whole nonprofit behind
Yeah.
there is because the nonprofit has been my grandmother's for 65 years. Like, I'm going to do it because it's cheerleading, it's football, it's coaching. It all kind of boils to what I'm doing. So that's a
What's your nonprofit? Tell us about it.
Yeah, wait, what is this 65-year-old nonprofit?
It's incredible.
So my grandmother started a cheerleading organization 65 years ago. It'll be 65 years now in 2024, where, of course, cheerleaders could not take the sidelines. And so she was able to get in with the city of Arlington. And now 65 years later, we now have evolved to football. So we are in the middle of spring league. And so we are pre-K through basically 6th grade till they go up to middle school. We do all cheer, all football, all flag, all tackle. It is all recreation to make sure we can bridge that gap of someone not being able to maybe afford football. We'll find a sponsor, a scholarship for them because we don't want any child left behind not being able to, one, afford a football helmet or anything like that.
That's incredible.
And my grandmother used to build because she was so good at sewing. So she would make my cheer uniforms, make my mom's. And now I am a second round president, and we are celebrating 65 years, and we had 500 kids on the sideline in fall. It's
Name
phenomenal.
of the organization?
It is ACA Optimist Club.
That's
Okay,
awesome.
that- yeah,
So
that's
proud of you.
Yeah, that's unbelievable.
Incredible.
Yep. So
Yeah.
I love it.
So here's a question to the man.
Uh-oh.
Is cheerleading a sport?
Ooh. Yes, please. Please tell me.
Well, okay, so I'll put my dumb guy hat back on, which, did I ever take it off? I would say it would be in line with golf, where it is athletic and it's tangential to a sport, where you know what? I would also categorize, no, not necessarily.
I can't see Glenda's face, but I know the face I'm making.
Because, believe it or not, there are more cheerleaders injured than football players.
Oh, that I don't
of-
doubt. Yeah, the flips, the throws, all of that stuff. And it was like gymnastics. So the reason I said that it's athletic, but I don't know if it's a sport, is wouldn't a sport require some sort of scorekeeping, and it's a contest?
There is score because we compete every weekend or between basically November and May.
But he did say they're athletes, so I'll give him that. Maybe I should have asked it differently.
Okay.
Are
Oh,
cheerleaders
no.
athletes?
Well, and also I would put the caveat out there where, like, I didn't know that there was scoring.
Oh, for sure.
So
You have to win. You have to score a certain number, and then you have to rank to win that level.
yeah, well, like, yeah, then I would say anything like that. Like I said, there's the aspect where there's certain things like, is NASCAR, is race car driving
Right.
a sport?
Right.
And it's like, kinda.
But he said they're athletes, so he's
Oh,
good.
yeah. And
We'll
then,
let that go.
Well,
Oh, that's
but I
true.
would also say that anything that would involve a competition where there is a winner and a loser,
Mm-hmm.
and like I would say, I would absolutely say cheerleading. If there is a competition like that, and there's a score, and there's a winner and a loser.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's a sport.
There's 28,000 of them in Dallas last
That
weekend.
that's a lot easier to digest
I
and
do
to
like
just
the way you think about that, though.
That's
and to
good.
look at it like versus a fat guy swinging a golf club
Yeah.
or whatever, or like
Fair.
a pudgy dude in a car.
Yeah,
You know,
that's
like,
fair.
because like, okay, there's the endurance of going 500 miles in a circle, which
Right.
like, good on you, bro. I don't know
I
what to
ain't
think
doing
about.
that.
Yeah, and then there's the thing of like golf, where it's like, okay, there is a little bit of athletic ability involved, but then, it's not something as full throttle as cheerleading. So
Yeah.
I would put the cheerleaders fully, and then even like, okay, from the guy's perspective, there's the dude,
Yeah.
that anchors it, throwing everybody up in the air and doing
For
all
sure.
of that stuff. And I would also say it's very much like on the same branch of the family tree as gymnastics.
Yeah.
Yes,
where
for sure.
I-
Yes.
I would think, and like that's obviously. Now, then the question would be like, subjective scoring. Mm-hmm. Like, how does that factor in?
It is very subjective.
very
We
subjective.
talked about that last weekend. It's definitely a subjective, and I kind of like feel it's
That's where the cheer mom comes out.
the cheer mom, because if you don't get that score to get that first place trophy, it's like, well, I hit that, and I'm like, well, no, they did not. But it's kind of crazy because I've been in cheer all of my life. I started with gymnastics, then I went to cheer, and then it has kind of evolved into a 2.5 minute routine that you walk off. And we were even laughing like last Friday, and those girls walking off and they're like fainting because it's so,
Oh, yeah.
it's so enduring. And
Well,
it's
and
just so weird.
having seen more than a handful of like cheer moms on Instagram, where I'm
That's
like,
a different sport.
"Whoa."
And I think maybe that's why I want to run it, because I am not that cheer mom. I'm like, nope. Like, I will allow the coaches to do what they need to do, but if my girl doesn't perform, well, you should have worked harder.
Love it. Love it. It definitely teaches discipline.
Oh, for
Oh,
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and like I said, there wouldn't be, I don't know, anybody that would look at that and everything that goes into it to be like exceptional.
Mm-hmm.
Like where you wouldn't say like, oh, like that is above and beyond, just normal everyday being in shape
Yeah.
or
For sure.
fitness.
For sure.
Good answer.
Yeah.
Good answer.
I love it. Yeah, I'm okay with that. You passed.
Oh, excellent. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
So what has been the skill that you possess, do you believe, that has made you successful? Like the driving skill that you have?
Oh, that's a good question. Because, I mean, I think it all kind of evolves around cheer. Is if I didn't have that tenacity, the way to change, because '08 lending is different from 2024 lending.
Ooh, yes.
And I feel that, you know, running a football team, it's all about changing and tenacity and growth and, like, weathering the storm. That's allowed me to go through '08 lending versus 2024 lending, for sure.
Right
So
on.
good. Wow, good answer.
When, with that cheer background, it's like, I know like women can be vicious to each other. And especially in something like that, where it's like almost like all of the things that y'all would both excel at and could be like warped into the dark side, where it's like, okay, the physicality, the look, and the competition and the vying for, you know, first place versus vying for captain or whatever.
Right.
Like, woo.
And it's funny because I was captain, my kid was captain, but then my kid didn't make 7th grade, so she had to change the way she did things, and she ended up varsity cheer captain.
So now I'm curious about that. Like in the male world, there is like just kind of automatically a hierarchy that is kind of baked in. Cause like for guys too, like usually it boils down to like somebody in this room could whip everybody's ass. So
Yeah.
I think it's Glenda.
Look, I wear heels for a reason. I told someone that this weekend. I wear heels. I'm the shortest, but I wear heels for a reason. I'm going to take off and
I
whip your
feel you.
ass
I
if
feel
I have
you.
to.
I look really tall sitting here. And then hearing my voice in this thing, it's like, wow, okay, all right. Where, you know, I'm not going to be the most imposing dude in the room. So I'm curious as to how that balance, like, do y'all just know when you walk in the room, like, oh, okay, that's the alpha, or that's the, you know,
No,
because
I
like
don't.
y'all don't have the threat of physical violence, like just kind of
No.
under the surface.
No, it's different. It's backhanded and backstabby, and I think
is.
that's what, as coaches and leaders, I know for me and for you too, we're really trying to change that.
For sure.
You guys, men can walk in, like we talked about earlier, and you can just be, and you can have the conversation, but women keep it on the down low and talk about it behind each other's backs and things like that. And that's not a good quality.
It's not.
And that's what we want to change, like through community, through partnership, embracing each other's differences and understanding that there's a client base for everyone.
Yeah.
We can all work together and move forward and excel. It doesn't have to be so competitive. I think with women, there's not as much friendly competition as there is with men.
Right.
And that's what we
You
want
have to
change.
talk behind your back, and like it's just a very weird vibe. And I'm
It
like,
is.
I don't want to talk behind your back. I want to help you get better so you don't have to worry about it.
The whole mean girl thing.
Oh, it's a true concept, and especially now in lending where like the market is shrinking and lending is shrinking. And I'm like, well, it's shrinking because you're not doing what you should be doing on a day-to-day basis. Get out of the bar, stop talking to people in the back, go promote yourself, get on social media, do what you do, serve your community, and you're going to thrive.
And so like, okay, so my question there is, how much would you have gals like essentially not try to rely, there's like this balance between I'm an influencer
Yeah.
versus I'm a fill in the blank business person, and to blend those two, because there has to be this XY axis where sooner or later, if you're too influencery,
For
if-
sure.
if that's a word, it
That's
is
why I
now.
laughed at that. I was like, really? I was like,
But if you're too much that, you're not going to be taken seriously at all.
for sure.
It's almost a negative term.
Yeah, influencer.
Yeah.
And that's why I was laughing. I was like, I love the award, and I was like, maybe we could change the name. No, because it is. It's a not just a work-life balance. It is a community that you build, and the more I build my community on social media, surrounding myself with people like y'all, it just becomes that validation point. And now it's when I have a client, I'm like, hey, let me go take this video off of social media to show you that is my validation for the reason why I'm having that conversation.
Right on.
I think it's a difference between being an influencer and being a leader.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
And then for like the gals that you would coach, do you try to have them be mindful of that right out of the gate? Because I know just in the content creation world, it becomes this sort of golden handcuffs where it's like, well, if I post a hot girl photo or whatever, or a video or whatever, where I'm pretending to be something that I'm not, that gets boatloads of eyes and DMs and everything else. But then if I really come at it with the truth, nobody pays attention, or substantially fewer people pay attention.
Right.
For sure.
So do you have them kind of come at it? So I'm assuming both of y'all coach in the sense of you need to be your brand, you need to be out there, you need to be doing your thing, and authenticity, especially like it's ironic now that AI is about to conquer the world.
It is.
And so this sort of full swing back around the other side of the barn to where I think, this is my personal thesis, that the ones that are the most authentic and actually
sure.
can be themselves on camera will kill, will
Yeah.
absolutely gonna crush.
And we're already seeing that. And
Yeah.
that's what's crazy. Like the B-roll with you playing with your kids in the background and your dog is substantially kicking tires against those that are like, oh, do you want to buy and sell a home? I'm like, freaking stop saying that. It is not about buying and selling a home. It's about helping that person and the personality and the pain point
Yes.
behind it. Those are the ones that are thriving right now.
Right on.
That's what I tell my dad before he posts something. He's like, nobody looks at any of my videos. I'm like, dude, post your dog.
Yeah. Post your
Post
dog and
the
talk
dog.
about that home. It'll be
Yes.
fine.
Well, and even like right now, one of my primary investors is in Europe, and he's
jealous.
just I
know, right?
I think right now he is in he just was in Germany, and
Nice.
so he learned how he's like 75, and he just learned how to make reels.
Oh,
And-
gosh.
and he's
I
like,
love it.
he goes, man, everybody likes this stuff. I'm like, wow, welcome to the 21st century.
They like
Well,
it because you're in Germany and we're in the United States, and I
come
want
on.
to
Yeah.
go back to Germany. That's why we like it. But that's what it is. It's just that the authenticity is going to thrive, but even consumers, because AI, they see the vision and they see the too perfectness. And like we were even talking in our class yesterday, because I run, I'm on this class about how to get better on social media. And that's the first thing they said was you have to make it so scripted and so perfect, because now consumers see that if it's too edited and too perfect,
Too
they're gonna want
shiny.
that. They're gonna
Too shiny.
swipe it and go. They want to see you fumble and mumble and like hit the mic and do all that and make it like just too crazy. And
Well, they want a real person.
th-
Because
they
that's
want
real
that.
life. And they want
Yeah.
someone they can relate to.
Which is
or
why
say ass or shit every once in a while. Like
Oh.
that's what they want to see.
like
It's a family show.
my life is definitely not a family show. So everything, all
And
of
if
my
I can't say that, then my people are swiping past it. Like
all
they
of
know
my
me.
conversations are NC-17 whenever we're not live. But one of the reasons why I like this format is we didn't know what we were going to talk about when we sat down.
Yeah.
So the likelihood of there being a persona
Yeah.
at the table is far far
For
lower.
sure.
You
So-
get what you get.
Yeah, and
exactly
that's me.
exactly. Well, and I also do everything where I assume like nobody cares.
Right.
I just got this shirt that says nobody cares, work harder.
Yeah.
Because kind of saying, we were talking earlier, done supersedes perfect.
Yes.
And just pull the trigger. Just do
Just get started.
something.
Just get
Yes.
started.
And so now, from just get started to anything to wrap it up.
Gosh, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah, it was
fun.
so fun. I've got a new mastermind starting this week
Yes.
on building your business to 7 figures.
Yes.
So I'm excited about that. You can check out my website at igniteu90.com. How about you, sir? What do you have going on?
Oh, just more of the same. We'll be here Fired Up Friday.
Awesome. Awesome. Who you got on Fired Up Friday?
We actually have the current president of Metrotex, Miss Ashley Gentry, will be
Love
here on
it.
Friday. Yes.
Love it. That's awesome.
I
And
love
where
that.
can we find you, Miss Glenda?
Everywhere on social media, all platforms. It's the Mortgage Coach DFW. I have really kind of branded myself to help agents grow their business, but
And
then
she's
it's
great.
also about helping clients get to the finish line, from coaching them from start to finish on either first-time home buyers or move up, or our lovely veterans that we love to serve.
Wonderful. Wonderful.
I love it. Well, thank you for having me. This is so much fun.
Thanks for being here.
Right on. This was awesome.
Take us home.
All right. Thank you, guys. Peter, shut her down.